The city seemed dead. Every step he took was swallowed by the snow, as if the world wanted to erase his existence too. He had no car, no umbrella, no one waiting for him anywhere. There was only the wind cutting through his soul and an old coat that no longer kept him warm, not from the cold, nor from the pain. That day, everything had gone wrong. His temporary job, gone. Lunch, just a packet of stale cookies. And to top it all off, his rent was late again. But he didn't complain anymore. He was past the point of despair. Now he just walked. On autopilot. Like someone who exists by inertia. That's when he saw her. There, at the empty bus stop, under a broken awning, a small, almost invisible figure, cowering as if she wanted to disappear. It was a woman. She must have been in her early 50s, maybe younger, maybe older. Her face was covered by a soaked scarf, her hands trembled as she held a cheap bag, and her eyes. Her eyes seemed to have lost hope years ago. But at that moment, they met his. And it was as if time had stopped. For a second, there was no wind, no snow, no emptiness. Just two strangers sunk in the same abandonment. He didn't even think. He took off his coat. It was all he had, and yet he held it out as if it were gold. Here. It's colder for you than it is for me. She hesitated. She looked at him with a kind of amazement, not fear, but disbelief. As if no one had cared for a long time. As if that simple gesture was something impossible to happen nowadays. She took the jacket. Slowly. As if she were touching an old memory. She thanked him with a nod. Without a word. Only her eyes spoke. He said nothing more. He just turned his back and continued walking in the fog, aimlessly. But something had changed. Not the cold. Not life. But that silence. He was different now. Fuller. Lighter. As if for a moment, without even knowing it, he had been part of something bigger than himself. Something he didn't understand yet, but that would change everything. And that same night, while he slept in a cold little room, with his arms crossed to try to forget the absence of his coat, somewhere in the city, the woman he had helped looked out the window of the tallest office in the capital, with his coat still on her lap. And a smile that no one had seen in years. Hey, before you continue, if this story has caught your attention so far, do the following: subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment saying, "I believe in the power of small gestures." This helps spread more stories like this around the world, and you won't miss the most impactful part that's coming up. Now hold on. 2 days passed. He had already forgotten about the coat. In fact, he had even forgotten to care. He was so deep in his gray routine that he didn't even notice when the envelope appeared in his mailbox, along with overdue bills and pizza flyers. It was black. Thick paper. No return address. Just his name written in cursive, as if someone had taken care to show that he mattered. Inside, a small card with an address written in gold. No explanation. No threat. Nothing. Just, Thursday. 10 a.m. I'll be waiting. On Thursday, he went. Not because he trusted them. But because, when nothing makes sense, any direction seems good. And that's how he found himself standing in front of the most imposing building in the city. Mirrored glass. A security guard at the door. People who would never look twice at someone like him. But when he said his name, everything stopped. Oh, of course, go up. They're waiting for you. Waiting for you. He almost laughed. But he went up. Upstairs, in a quiet office with a panoramic view, she was there. No longer huddled in the cold. Now with the posture of someone in charge. Clothes that could make time stop if she wanted to. But her gaze. Her gaze was the same as that night in the snowstorm. "You don't recognize me, do you?" He hesitated. But he recognized her. It was her. The woman from the bus stop. That coat was all you had, and yet you gave it to me. Today, I want to give it back. With interest. Before he could ask, she handed him a contract. I want you to work with me. I need someone with courage, humanity, and zero interest in status. I want someone real. He froze. But I don't know anything about business. She smiled. Perfect. We'll teach you the rest. And at that moment, he understood, life doesn't always test you with big decisions. Sometimes, it measures you with a coat. And now, he was in. Without really understanding why or what for. But for the first time, he felt like he was in the right place. Time passed. And he grew. Not in position. In presence. In that company, where everything was made of glass, concrete, and egos, he was the only one who looked the floor cleaners in the eye. The woman, now always called President by everyone, trusted him in a strange way. She listened to his advice. She called him to important meetings. And sometimes, in moments of silence, she looked at him with an expression that mixed pride, longing, and pain. But he felt it. There was something there. Something she wasn't saying. A bigger reason for all of this. A reason that went beyond that coat. Until one day, she disappeared. Without warning. No meeting. No message. She didn't show up for a week. Rumors began. Illness. Crisis. Trip. But no one knew. Until they called him. For a visit. To the hospital. She was there. Weak. Pale. Tubes. Monitors. But her gaze, still hers. Strong. Firm. Warm. I think it's time to tell you the truth. He sat down. His heart pounding. She handed him a small wooden box with a key inside. Go to room 17. In the old company building. It's been locked since he left. Who? She smiled. That sad smile of someone who loved too much. My son. He died 3 years ago. Motorcycle accident. He was your age. He was stubborn, just like you. And he had the same eyes. He froze. Since he left, I've been looking for a reason to go on. Until that night. The night a stranger offered me his coat without knowing who I was. She took a deep breath, struggling to speak. And for a moment, I saw my son again. Silence. The kind of silence that speaks louder than any voice. He didn't know what to say. Or if he should say anything at all. She took his hand. You're not him. And I never wanted you to be. But, for a few minutes, you brought him back. And you gave me the right to be a mother again, even if only in silence. She closed her eyes. The machines were still beeping. But the world seemed to stop. In room 17, he found everything. Photos. Letters. Clothes. And an unfinished painting. Of her son. And the most bizarre thing. It was him. The same crooked smile. The same look of resistance. They looked like brothers. Or, reflections. In the last letter, if he ever shows up again, even in another body, let me love him without haste. Because a mother's love never dies. It just changes faces. He fell to his knees. Because at that moment, he understood. It wasn't just about the job. Or about generosity. It was about replacement. It was about healing. And now, she was leaving. But she left him with a mission. A home. A story. And a piece of the love she could never finish. The funeral was discreet. No press. No executives. only the real ones. He was there. Black coat, lost look. Holding the wooden box with the same key that opened her pain, and his own past as well. No crying. No screams. Just the cold breeze and the silence that screams when the world loses someone who saved it without making a sound. 2 weeks later, he received an envelope. She had left everything. Yes, everything. The company? No. Something better, the old building. Room 17. And along with the key, a note, do with it what you will. But if you can, create something that makes other people be seen, like you made me feel that night. He didn't open a new branch. He didn't launch a luxury brand. He did something no one expected, he opened a support center. For invisible people. For people who shiver with cold, inside and out. Abandoned women. Abandoned young people. Mothers who have lost children. People who just need a coat, or a glance. He called the place, Room 17. People asked him what it meant. He just smiled and said, it's where it all began, and where she ended in peace. The city began to take notice. Reports appeared. Influencers tried to understand. But no one ever grasped what he had really inherited. Because what she left behind couldn't be put in a will. She left meaning. From time to time, he would return to the bus stop from that night. He would sit there in silence. Without a coat. Just with the memory. The cold still cut through him. But he didn't feel it anymore. Because now, he was someone's shelter. If you've made it this far, then this story has touched a part of you that you may have forgotten existed. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded of the power of a simple gesture. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. And comment below, I want to be someone's coat. Because in the end, it's not about great deeds. It's about being there. When no one else is. And that changes everything.